Okay. So, hi everyone, officially. I'm Rose Pusuk, your host of the Fashion Clinic Talk today. We're here with our honored guest, Maria Costa, founder of Belo, an upcycle bag based in London, and Hoaxing Yang, founder of DWSWS, a clothing brand inspired by Chinese mythology based in New York City. As we're all living in the world of cultural diversity, the understanding of cross-cultural communication has become vital to build successful collaborations and establish businesses abroad. Both of our guest speakers here from Brazil and China have channeled their ways to grow their own fashion brands in London and New York City. We are going to start off our talk by letting the speakers share their personal and entrepreneurial journeys. After that, feel free, we will discuss questions and you guys feel free to come join anytime. All right, so let's start with you, Haoxiang.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Can I share the screen, please?
Yeah, you can share the screen. I have allowed this for one participant share at a time, so you'll be able to share the screen on the bottom of your screen there's a share screen button.
Yeah, but I still cannot use that. It's so host disabled participant screen sharing.
One screen. That's weird.
Mhm.
Can you now sharing the screen?
Yeah, I get it. Thank you. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Haoxiang. It's my Chinese name. You can call me Kiyosaki. Because I'm learning Japanese right now, so quite like I'm just interested in give me some like Japanese names stuff. Okay, so today I'm gonna introduce my brand, my music, and my like other works. Okay, so this is the content. So first part is personal info, and the second part is design works and some music production works. And third part is like a feminist book written by me, which is will published in May in New York. And fourth part is traditional Chinese feminist art because I'm Chinese. And fifth part is her self TV channel, which is the podcast about feminist. Okay. Me here, introduction. I know it's like so long stuff here, but you can read it, and at the same time I'll just talk to you what I'm doing right now and what I'm done like previously. So when I was in London College of Fashion, because I studied fashion design in London College of Fashion, so quite like I'm the alumni with you guys. So okay, so I established this brand in like first year of my school, and at that time I just want to like express Chinese traditional art and philosophy, and also like some like the books stuff like that to the foreign friends. Just like a simple naive thought at that time. And later on, when I graduated from there, I went back to Shanghai and have my own fashion week in 2020. And also I was the guest speaker to CSSA, Goldsmiths International Youth Art, something. I'm not very familiar with that. And later on, I just have some showrooms and stuff. And also because I was a editor before I was graduated there. So I just have some like editor works, and also as a reporter, I reported some like basketball games because I was so fascinated about basketball games. I know I'm kind of like look like a nerd right now, but it seems like I have so much like fun stuff like previously. And because I'm doing the music as well, I'm a freelancer like doing R&B and also indie rock music right now. So I was I was use Chinese right now. It's like a singing competition which called 明日之子, like a Chinese like I don't know show for music before just last year. And also it's like join the Asia for free 0 for stuff like that. Oh my god, so it's like the design works right now. I'll share the screen for Oh. Okay, so this is my works. So yeah, this is a fashion show in 2020. Some like backstage recap and some like stuff like that. I'll just quickly go through the whole profile, and you guys can just see that as a quick peek. These are the second season last year. These are all about like Chinese traditional books. For example, like the first season is Hoaxing, which is like mountains and rivers in Chinese traditional like history. And the second season is like 本草纲目, which is quite like I don't know, vegetables, medicine, but it's also like from Chinese history. And these are also the details and stuff like that. Yeah, and these are the consumers profile. I know these are kind of like I know limited consumer group, but I don't want to like everybody wear my stuff. It's kind of like unique thing. And this is their third season this year. Some quite like bamboo. There's a bamboo called 香妃竹. So basically it's like a girl, like she cried for her like husband, and seems like her like tears on the bamboo, it seems like kind of like this shape. I don't know whether like my explanation makes sense, but you can just try to explain and understand. And these are like other words, and these are some magazine stuff. Seems like that. Yeah, it's quite like simple stuff here. Okay, here. Back to here. So these are my music stuff. Because I'm just like literally technically a true feminist, as I think I am. So when I in the program in the TVC shows, I was just like trying to do a feminist speech about how I can like relate the complicated relationship between girls and boys and stuff like that, and love, what is love and stuff like that. But it seems like Chinese traditional men, they don't like my speech because I just say some like shitty words in front of like all the people. But it's quite like interesting, like every girl in the TV show seems like to hear my voice or hear my speech because they say like man sucks. I'm sorry, but it's like I did say something like that in the speech. So yeah. And this is like my feminist book written like last month and published in May. So basically this book about like 3 parts. The first part is poet. The third part is like some criticized thinking and critical like I don't know how to say, like critical comments about the current situation from the society, and I'm observed of in the second part. And the third part is like some fictions from my mind and stuff like that about girls and boys and men, women, and love, young, stuff like that, but kind of like with feminist observation perspective. And about my podcast, Herself TV channel, which is I heard from Kitty that says some of you guys are interested in this podcast. So basically this podcast about feminists, yeah, as well. So these are like, we had the interview like every week, every 2 weeks about like the feminist artists or female artists from different like majors and different works and stuff. For example, like we interview like tattooists, we interview the singer, interview the designer, and the exhibition, the museum, but they are also like running by female and their founder are all female. And these are 2 parts of the a podcast. The first part is like we have the list of the questions to ask them about their works, their situations and stuff, and how they regard the feminist as what kind of thing in their mind. And also we do their like personal info, personal works in the second part of the podcast. And we also like interview some like pregnant female, like young women who are pregnant already, and it seems like their mind and like stuff situation like has a little bit change and stuff, and also from different world. Yeah, it's quite like that. Thank you, everybody. I'm done right now.
Wow, that was very insightful information. I mean, like, you've done so much like music, podcasts, designs. Wow.
Thank you.
Inspiring. And I do love like your design, especially with the you incorporate mythology. Because I'm actually doing the same thing with the Thai mythology, and now I know who to ask if I, so thank you.
Thank you.
So now let's move on to Maria. So tell us your story, Maria.
Yes. Oh my God. Honestly, after we just listened, what a superwoman. You've done it
I know,
all.
right? It's like
It's
all everything. It's like,
incredible.
yeah,
Yes,
it's very
and super creative. Well done for your line. I absolutely love it. So let me share my screen for you guys to see. Let me see if I can. Oh, can you guys see my screen?
yes, all good.
Yeah. So this is Belo, my brand. Pretty much who I am shaped Belo. So I come from Brazil. I'm actually, when I was little, I used to live in the middle of the Amazon jungle. And that really shaped the person that I am today. I think when you live in the middle of something so beautiful and majestic, but at the same time, you see a lot of devastation and pain, you grow up with a sense of justice, like I always felt really powerless. And even though like my background is not as a fashion designer, I went to business school. I worked as in supply chain and in finance for most of my life. But I always had a passion for fashion and for the design part of it. And I knew that was exactly what I wanted to do. And for me to do it, it would only make sense if I was helping my community. And that's how Belo was born, a way that to turn for fashion to galvanize change in Brazil. So less beauty, more beauty, less waste. This is our concept. Belo is a British Brazilian accessories brand designed to be kinder to people and the planet. We wanted to define the status quo of fashion and prove that you can change the perception of waste and luxury in the fashion industry. So we create bold and versatile accessories that give back to the community every step of the way. We started, so this is my business partner and best friend, Charlotte. Charlotte is English, and we actually know each other since we were 16 years old. So this year has been 16 years that we know each other. And Charlotte is the creative brain of our company for sure. And we together she traveled all around South America. And when she came to Brazil to visit me, we sat down and we realized, both of us, after the experiences that we have working with impoverished communities, and that we wanted to do something that could bring more opportunities and change people's lives. So that's how we created Belo. the way that we make Belo was to tackle two of the biggest problems in my community, which is waste and poverty. I don't know, like, the situation in the UK or in other parts of the world where you guys are based at the moment, but in Brazil, we have a really bad solid waste management problem. And this means that most of the impoverished communities in Brazil, they're the ones that suffer with the fact that the waste is just dumped. So floods and diseases, all of these deadly elements that surround impoverished communities. And we knew that for Belo to be successful, we needed to start by tackling these two big problems. So the way that we do it when we set out Belo was to make sure that our business model was like the circular business model that is applied to materials, but also apply that socially as well. So we go from the linear model of take, pay, sell, and profit to take, pay, sell, profit, and reinvest back into the community. Because for us, this is what sustainability means. Like, you need to be profitable and you need to help the ones around you to make sure that they can grow with the business. So it's basically rising while you're lifting others as well. So our product is versatile, it's comfortable, it's water resistant. All of the products that we have at the moment, you can wear it multiple ways. And we did it like that because we believe that we need to slow down our consumption and make sure that every single person gets the most out of the products that they have. So our line goes from our little wallets to our big bags, and you're all gonna see like hidden functionalities to every single one of our products. What we do is we want to take the client in the journey with us. So we want to make sure that they understand our supply chain. When we work with fashion, we know how unhumanized the supply chain is. People don't understand that there is people behind making the products that they are wearing, working really hard to create it. And we want to show the people, but not like, oh my God, look at them working, really unhappy, you know, or like really, we want to show them as individuals, as the humans that they are, with dreams, aspirations, like how clever, funny, all of the artisans are that are making our products. And so every single bag, it comes with a tag. And in this tag, it has the photo of the person that made that product, the amount of meals they donated with that bag, and the amount of material they saved from landfill. I will explain all the materials when we come to our supply chain. I left as a bit of a mystery for you guys. But we work with materials that are designed to last a lifetime, but often they are made into products with a shorter lifespan. If you think about like how long does a plastic bottle decompose in the environment, you know, or for that matter, seatbelts, you know, how long they take 400 to 500 years to decompose. And we don't wear them for that long, especially in Brazil, because you have to change the seatbelts every 10 years. So this is what we understood, that we had to pick up this waste that was found in the community and turn them into our products. We started with 3 products essentially. So the seatbelts, which is our main one. So most of our bags that are made out of seatbelts. And all these seatbelts, so in Brazil, you have to change the seatbelts of a car every 10 years. You're not allowed to reuse it. So basically, people just throw them away, and they either go to landfill, or they end up in the streets, or they are burned. These are the where, you know, like their destiny in life. So we pick up those seatbelts and we turn them into our bags. The same goes with fabric offcuts that we collect from the fashion industry around my city in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, because we are a fashion hub as well. And we also collect plastic bottles and like, what's it called? Like inner tubes. So, you know, like tire inner tubes, we collect them as well because we make some products with them, as well as our recycled fabric that we outsource from a B Corp certified company in Brazil. And all of these materials, they are outsourced in my hometown. And we use people that were unemployed and they were depending on NGOs to survive. We created a cooperative with these people. And nowadays they collect not only waste for us, but for other companies in several different fields as well. These are 3 of them. We actually have, like, in the cooperative 15 people working, but we started with just them. So after we collect all the material, that's when we go into product development. So I know that usually we start with design, but because of our main focus is to upcycle these materials, we select the materials first, and then we think about how we're going to design it. And we do it in a way to make sure that we can make that design zero waste. So every single bit of fabric, of material that we don't use, we try to create other products, and we make it in a way that is easy to disassemble as well, because our main goal is to make sure that we can create a second life cycle for those products. When it comes to manufacturing, we started as well with 3 artisans, and now we have 30. And they all come from the most impoverished and vulnerable community in my hometown called Cafezal, which is actually where my father came from. So it was really important for me to go back to my family roots and to help my community, essentially. And we made sure when we were creating our business model to ensure that the artisans were paid a living wage, and that everything in the cooperative was extremely fair and working in a way that made the artisans feel comfortable. They also, for the first time in their lives, they contribute for the government pension plan, because before they used to work for themselves, so they didn't have to. And we made sure to enroll everyone so they can have some security at the end of their lives as well. So I don't know, when I was talking to you, I was telling you that when we create our tags, we put them out of meals. And this is how we actually make our community investment. Every single bag, a percentage of the sales go back to the community. And because I'm always there and I'm always talking to the leaders of the community, we wanted to make sure that we were investing something that was really important to them. And so we invested in Casa de Maria, which is an NGO that is the cornerstone of Cafezal. And we give them meals because they feed over 800 people a day in Belo Horizonte. And we knew that this money and the food will make a big difference in their lives. So the end of our supply chain is what we're doing right now, is to make sure that we can create a second life cycle for our products. So we just introduced a scheme to our customers when they don't want their Belo bags and they don't want to, they're not able to sell it. They can give back to us. We give them a voucher with 30% to spend on Belo. And we're going to start experimenting and seeing what we can do with the bag so they don't end up in landfill. At the moment, since we started, we have donated 7,032 meals. We saved from landfill 6,451 meters of seatbelts, 6,516 plastic bottles, 818 kilograms of fabric offcuts. And we sell at the moment in Selfridges. So Selfridges is our official wholesale partner. We sell directly to our customers as well. And we make collaborations with other businesses. I don't know if you guys know Garhard, the jewelry brand. We currently made like some amazing bags for them as well. And this is what we've been so far. So we've been featured in Forbes, BBC, Vanity Fair, Country Town House, The Telegraph, Independent, Hue Magazine, and we were also part of EcoAge when they had their own like directory. We were part of that as well. And yeah, so this is Belo, and this is me. This is my brand. I hope you guys liked it.
Yes, that was wonderful, Maria. It's so inspiring how you built this brand and just so connected with your community and everything.
Thank you. Thank you. It was always something that was really important to me. Let me.
Oh, okay.
Have I done it?
Well, you're still.
Is it still showing?
Yeah, but it's fine.
There we go.
You can still share. It's okay.
Have I done it now? I feel like an old lady.
We can still see it, but it's fine.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'll try to get rid of it.
It's all right. I can. Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I feel like an old lady. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It was a great presentation, so we can keep having a look at that. It's fine. Yeah, that was. It's really inspiring to see like both of you from different countries who are like making impacts and everything in different corners of the world.
Thank you. And the funny thing also that I didn't say is that we produce everything in Brazil, but our headquarters is in the UK. So when you're talking about trying to break into the industry here, it wasn't easy at all. It wasn't, we had to hustle a lot, do a lot of markets, like Spitalfields and all of that. But the fact that we were dealing with unconventional materials to make our bags, and also had such passion to help the communities in Brazil that really touched people. So even though we weren't helping directly communities in the UK, they were still very much touched with the stories of our artisans and the volunteers from the NGO that we partnered up as well.
How did you manage to like set up and manage the business and supply chain, since you're basically your community are based in Brazil, but you're selling and based in Birmingham? Like, how do you manage that?
So actually, I just moved. So I moved last year in August. So the whole time that we were developing the supply chain to actually launch the brand, so we officially launched this year. Before we were doing markets, and we were doing a lot of testing, a lot of market research. We would sell in those markets and ask people, see how, what they think was good about the product, what wasn't, before we actually had like a proper launch. So I did stay in Brazil 3 years. I postponed, moved to the UK for 3 years to make sure that we were able to develop not only the product, but our supply chain. And now we have people that work for us over there and are able to manage everything. And I do go a lot, like I went in January to oversee our projects, to see how the cooperative was doing, go to the NGO as well that we help. So yeah, no, it is really important for you to be present. It's you can't do that, managing everything always, remotely. That's for sure.
A lot of us in our program like are aspired to work like with the communities based in their hometown, but still like even in our master's project, we're struggling to plan like, wait, how much time do we need to go back home? How long do we need to establish connections or build relationships with our partners? Especially like we want to work with communities, but it's not that easy, definitely. And you managed to pull it off, and now, set up 2 branches in Brazil, not branches, but like, like your production's there, and now you moved here. So definitely like, need to plan
Yeah.
that out to learn from you from that.
It is possible, but like you said, I think the most important, if you really want to make an impact, is to build relationships with your community. And that's number one, always. And truly understand what their needs are and what their talents are. So for us was, because we're working with unusual materials that require different types of machinery and expertise. So understanding how we can bring that talent with our artisans, what we would have to do to support them, and how we could support the community as well, and breaking down the barriers. I don't know how other communities all over the world, but in Brazil, people are very much guarded, and sometimes it's hard to access. So you really need to break down those barriers if you want to make a true positive impact.
Really invest in the communities, time as well. Right. So I would love to chat more, but we have to get into the juicy topics of cultural diversity. So we, the Fashion Clinic, have come up with several questions that we'd like to ask you about cultural diversity issues, since you're both running businesses abroad. So here are some questions. So first one off, how have your cultural backgrounds and identities influenced your approaches to fashion, design, and businesses? Whoever want to go first.
You go.
Oh, Maria's on mute already. She's okay.
Oh, right.
I talk too much, so it's better if you go.
Oh, it's all right.
I was like, why did you unmute? Okay.
Okay, you pick. Okay, you can pick.
No, I don't want to pick. So anyway, I'm not going to pick.
Okay, I'll just go first. So it's quite tricky to describe how can I explain this question, because I believe in Taoist, which is Daojiao in China. So basically I just do a lot of meditation and a lot of meditation reading in the Euro time. So I know it's kind of tricky, but this brand is typically just for express the inspiration from Taoist, this specific religion, and also because this religion in the Chinese history is main aim to express the sustainability from the long history ago. So basically this brand is also for sustainability, which is I mentioned for Fur-Free in Asia, this organization. And also we do a little bit similar thing with Maria, because we do a lot of cut off fabrics to redo the clothes for next season, something like that. And also we every SKU, every style for the clothing, we just do 5 to 10 pieces, and once it's sold out, it's just sold out. We won't do many clothes again, because we don't want to stock clothing, and we don't want to waste clothing. And for the podcast, because I'm doing the sustainability thing, so we are more focused on how sustainability can relate it to fashion and relate it to female. It's a specific group of people. So basically, yeah, just yeah just like that.
So since your brand, so
Yeah.
sustainable and it's Chinese mythology inspired, was it the origin of the culture, the Chinese culture and the Taoism that inspires you to build the brand? Originally, is that how it started? And it's Taoism inspire you for the sustainability, or it's more this the global happening? What was the inspiration at the beginning?
Yeah, just because of the Taoist and meditation, because I'm doing kind of tarot card reading in the Euro time, because I already do the meditation and the tarot card reading for 7 years since I was in high school something. So basically meditation is part of the most important thing of my daily routine. So basically Taoist technically is the inspiration for my brand. Yeah.
Wow. All right. And how about you, Maria?
So just going back, can you repeat the question again, just to make sure that I...
Sure. Well, you have answered quite a few as well, but it's just, how have your cultural backgrounds and identities influences your approach to fashion design and businesses?
Yeah. So Brazilian culture, we're very warm, and we are very like I don't know the word, is aggregate or what, like, you know, like we always bring people close, you know, like we love to celebrate. Everything is a celebration. And I think that really influenced the way that Charlotte and I do business, and how we design as well. We celebrate the culture in our company is to make sure that we celebrate every single person, and every single person has a voice. So from the seamstress that only does like a little bit on our bags, to the ones that like the head seamstress that helps us prototype, they all have an input, and we all brainstorm together and collaborate to make our products the best way possible. And also, for example, we make collections that are inspired in Brazilian art, or we did one inspired in Brazilian carnival, because in Recife, it was the first carnival in the world that was sustainable. So they did all the decorations and the costumes, everything with offcuts and upcycled materials, which was incredible. So we decided to celebrate that and also shed light on our culture, you know. So we are very proud British, and we are very proud Brazilians. And we always try to incorporate that into the way that that we plan our designs, but also the way that we do business. Like, I'm very warm, and I'm very like, you know, all over the place. And yeah, we don't try to change that, you know, tame it because we're in certain environments. We celebrate each other's personalities, even though Charlotte is pretty Brazilian because she's very warm and, you know, she loves a hug. But
I was gonna ask you, what is it like to mix Brazilian and British culture all in one? So it's like, it's a bit like, you know, British are well known for a little bit like cold, but well, as you mentioned, Charlotte is pretty warm as well. So I guess
but it is different for sure, and you need to know how to navigate, but you can't lose yourself trying to. I think that's, for me, that is really important. So sometimes we want to fit a mold to make sure that we accept it. And in the beginning, I used to do that a lot, until I realized that it was better if I was just myself for our business as well. Because I was like, oh my God, okay, we're going to have our first meeting with Selfridges, so I need to act all proper. I can't do this, and you know. And of course, there are certain things you need to be extra polite, because that's how British people are. They're extremely polite. We're very rude Brazilians. So you need to adapt, but you can't forget who you are, you know, because people love the authenticity too.
This leads to our next questions, actually. You kind of answered that. So we're just wondering, like, how do you like navigate cultural differences in the fashion industries, like in both like design and business practices? As you mentioned, like authenticity is the key to everything, right? Is there anything like worth like noting to like other than just being authentic? Because, you know, sometimes like things in your own culture are considered like polite or rude, but it's like different in like, you know, different narratives. Like, do you like, you know, do you think like we have to be like cautious about it, or just like go all in, like, you know, just be yourself? Like, what do you think about that?
I think awareness is important, you know, like we have, for example, if we have meetings with like Swiss, or we had actually meetings with we're actually showcasing in Hong Kong as well. It was important for Charlotte and I to make sure that we are aware of other cultures. So we were like Googling, trying to ask friends that we know that come from that heritage, you know, certain heritages and stuff, and ask like, what is the best practices? What is the polite thing to do? Like, how do we behave in situations like this or that? So being aware is important. You have to keep your essence and be authentic, but you also need to be aware if, you know, something that you're doing could be something rude. But I keep an open mind as well, because I know that, for example, you don't know Brazilian culture, so maybe you're going to do something that I think is offensive, and I'm like, oh my God, but you don't know, you don't have to know, you know, like it's not it's not your job to know everything. So I can't be mad, but it's our job to know everything. So I make sure that I do, you know what I mean? Like you can't expect that from other people, but you have to take reins of your life. So you have to do your best and try to understand,
Because I find it challenging. I used to work with Japanese, and they love sending like capital letters in my emails, and I was like, oh my god, rude. And they would recall them, they're perfectly fine. I was like, okay, like they're not really aggressive that way. So I was like, okay, good. So you never know. I guess they have different cultures in like emails and text, especially in writing. I find it like quite challenging because you don't know whether their facial expressions or the way they talk is like, it's like kind of like misleading. Oh, very good.
Yeah, like Brazilian people, they're very direct. So in an email, we will be like, "Hi, send me a copy of this. Thanks, bye." In the UK, it's like, "Hi, I hope this email finds you well." Like, and sunshine, like they, you have to be more proper. In Brazil, it's like copy attached, thanks, and that's it. Like
straight at it.
Yeah.
That's efficient. Well, now we know the Brazilian culture.
Yeah.
What about you, Hoaxing? How do you like navigate your way in the cultural differences in New York City? You as a Chinese designer, like, how is it like to work with like such a diverse, city like that in New York?
Yeah, oh, just for your convenience, you can call me just Yan. It's more convenient.
Oh, Yan? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce her name correctly? I already
Yeah.
asked Kitty. I was like, Hoaxing.
Yeah, no, because my another name is like Japanese name, so it's more difficult to pronounce.
Yeah,
Yes, okay. Yeah, right. Okay. So it's quite tricky for me because me as a person is kind of like aggressive and mean. Sorry. So because in my mind, fashion is mean, like people are complicated and mean and like straightforward to say what they want, and they are nauseous. Sorry about that, but it's kind of like I'm getting used to that because when I was in design major, my teacher always said, you do some shitty works, right? It's just kind of like forward and straightforward. But when you done something great, she will, oh yeah, fascinating. Yeah, right. Okay, so basically I'm just getting used to this kind of like straightforward way of communicating. I know sometimes it's rude, and sometimes I'm trying to be like not rude to people because it's a manner for me in fashion, but I'm quite like okay with people who are rude to me. And also an interesting thing is I have the psychology qualification for myself just to like navigate people and like difference between people. And seems quite like from my observation, like people who are aggressive and mean, they are kind of like sensitive inside. So basically I'm gonna just like getting understandable for their sensitive inside, and I'm getting like, okay, they're like sensitive, so they are like kind of like weak, so they are showing like aggressive things like that. So okay, I'm getting used to it. And yeah, and also because me myself is like a gender fluid person, so although I'm not LGBTQIA the group, but I'm gender fluid, so basically I can like understand both female and male, they're different like mindset in their brain. So basically, yeah, I think human being is just kind of like tricky, most complicated thing in the world. So yeah, so we're just like transfer fashion or transfer the industry seems like to be more philosophy thing. Yeah, you can get used to it like from that perspective.
And in your line of work, do you work with a lot of international people in New York, or when you host fashion shows, or run a shops, or doing podcasts? Like, how does it like working in New York City?
Because different people have like different like ways for communicating with them. So I'm trying to like depart myself as like different characteristics for different people.
Adapt to in each individual.
Yeah, because actually I'm an introverted person in the daily life. So quite like I don't like to talk to people so much, especially one-on-one. But because I'm doing some meditation for other people, So I have to communicate them and use my meditation to influence them. And for example, today, this guest speaker speech, I cannot like don't talk because it's this the speech, right? So yeah,
You're the
basically,
guest speaker.
yeah. So you know, although I'm an introverted person, but I cannot like treat all the works at the same thing. So yeah.
No, well, you don't seem introvert to me, but that's a compliment.
Yeah, I know.
And so let's move on to our third questions. This is one is a bit juicy. So how do you define cultural appropriation? Is there any experience you have encountered with your own culture being appropriated? What did you, how did you make you feel, and how did you react to that situation? Can start with you now, Hoaxing, since you're, oh, Yan, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's no worries. So I'm gonna be a little bit offensive for this topic. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, because I've been like, it's just like a latest thing. Because last month, because I have the braids last month, but the braids is like kind of tricky thing in Asia area, because a lot of like rappers and also musicians, they're doing like this kind of like braids haircuts just for respect this culture. But I know it's quite like normal in Asia area and also for Europe, because Europe, they're like kind of like welcoming to everyone to use this kind of haircut to show their respect. But in America, African America, they are like kind of like you know, this kind of thing. Yeah. And also because last month I'm doing like design work for another studio at the same time. And when I doing the pattern cutting in the studio, there's a Korean boy just straightforward like broke the door and get into the room and said, oh, you have to get rid of your braids because you are so like disrespectful, and also you have to like get rid of this fashion industry, something like that. It's kind of like aggressive, you know. It's kind of like none of his business, because he's a Korean and because of his boyfriend is a African American, and kind of like yeah it's like love blind. It's like because I did the braids just because I appreciate this culture. I love African American culture and I love hip hop music. Because I also like dance for street dance as well. So I don't think it's like a more serious thing in my mind.
Like a celebration of culture rather than
yeah, I'm just about like celebrating and showing my respect to them. But because like, you know, America is like only 200 years of history. They're like complicated history in here. And personally, I don't like America. Sorry guys, but I don't like New York. Sorry. Yeah, but seems like it's not an appropriate way for a Korean to judge me like you are blah blah blah. And he said, if you cannot get rid of your braids, I'll just punch you in the face. Something like that. So yeah, I don't think it's like a, you know, people something get their mind, like lose their mind. So yeah, I'm okay with that. So I'll just get rid of my braids now because I'm worried about my safety.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
And I'm so happy you said that, like that you have this point of view. Like I'm like I in my perception of life is that every single person, they come from different experiences, different they were raised differently, they have different traumas in their life, and that really projects to the person that they are and the reactions they have with what happens in the world, you know. And personally for me, so I am mixed race. My dad is Black, my mom is white. My dad is my grandfather is the first generation free of slavery in Brazil. And for me, I don't understand cultural appropriation in the sense that in Brazil, we are colonized culture, of course, but we are made of so many different nations. And for example, one of the most traditional dishes in Brazil is called stroganoff, which is actually Russian, or feijoada that comes from Africa, empadas that comes from Spain, panada. So Brazil, the way, like when you were saying about how our cultures influence, the way I see Brazil is a place where we absorb a lot of culture, we celebrate cultures, and they all come together to create our own. And that's the beauty of globalization. If you are like celebrating a culture with respect, you're actually shedding a light into a culture. It doesn't matter if it's not your background, because then we are always going to be in our little box, so I'm not allowed to paint my hair blonde because I'm not European and I'm not white, so I can't have blonde hair or straight hair, because my hair is actually very curly, but I like to straighten it. So I understand that some people have this type of views, but I think it just creates a world where everyone is scared to love and to experience different things.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm really, it makes me so sad when I hear your story, for example, saying that you went through this and you're actually celebrating a culture that you love so much. And it's like, for example, when Gwen Stefani, I think she said, she was like, oh, I'm Japanese because I love Japanese culture. And she did like a whole fashion line and all of that and for me, it's okay to love other cultures. And even if you make money, but you're not allowed to make money, of course you are. That's what makes the world go around. If we stop making money, how are we going to exist in life?
Yeah.
I don't I understand if you're degrading the culture and if you're doing something that is degrading, but when I've been to situations, for example, that was one time we wanted to do something to celebrate the Amazon. So I lived in the Amazon until I was 10 years old, in the middle of the Amazon. And I wanted to do like this painting of with indigenous features, culture, like the culture that it comes direct from the Amazon, the Amazonian communities. And I received backlash because I'm not indigenous, so I'm not allowed to put that into my art. And I was so sad. I was like, but I'm, I don't understand. Unfortunately, I respect people that do, and I wish people had the same respect that I had. But when you don't like something, I feel that we are so polarized in the world that we are forgetting to come together, that we can have different views and celebrate each other. That's my perception of what's
and because about like culture, this thing, because 2 months ago, like during the Spring Festival, for Chinese Spring Festival, the time British Museum like said the Spring Festival is a Korean festival because Korean registered some Chinese festivals into Korean culture and create laws, which is, I think this kind of type things is not appropriate thing, it's cultural appropriation. But as for the braids and also art, this kind of like no boundaries, we have to carry some love, but like turning into the festival and also history and change part of the history is not okay for me.
It's a tricky part in creative world these days. Even for me myself, like incorporate cultures in my brand. So I have clothing brand inspired from Thai arts, and I got like asked by like, oh, don't you worry about cultural appropriation? I'm like, oh my God. I think it's like kind of like stressing like to be people to be creative. I mean, you look at the fashion designs earlier in the day, it's like people like use or just inspired by each culture around the world, like Christian Dior, like it just inspired by different like diversity. Now it just kind of be like super cautious about it. So I'm glad we all agree the same page. We just a formal celebration for sure.
I was so nervous about this talk. Like I was having a meeting before our. I'm so glad that you guys said I was having a meeting before our talk today, and I sat down with my business partner, and I was like, I'm gonna have to speak my mind, and I'm scared that I'm gonna have some backlash if I say that
no.
and
Oh,
we were
no
just
worries.
like, let's live
worries.
our life to what we believe in, that we have to accept others, and you have to speak your truth. So do that. And I'm happy that we are all people that accept, So, and I honestly think that we have to speak our minds and not be so scared, because that's how bigotry wins mostly, because we get scared,
Yeah. I see that, people use different cultures more. Like I'm happy to see people use different cultures from different countries. I was like, this is great. It's a globalized world. We're developing is like united cultural diversity, and just well, I'm glad we're all on the same page basically. So no need to be nervous. So
Yeah, I think only the circumstance, like when people like said your culture is their culture, then we can fight back. But if
that
it's
is
like,
appropriation.
yeah,
There's a
what if,
bottom
like,
line.
yeah, but if it's like a cultural celebration, we can just hold love, give love and stuff.
I think the form of designs and that's like more like creativity and celebration, I'll say. But if you're saying it's like someone's culture, then it's different story for sure. Yeah. So, okay, we have 2 more questions left. Next one is, how do you ensure that your designs and business practices are inclusive and respectful of different cultural backgrounds? Whoever wants to go first.
Maria?
Yeah, I'll go first. So it's really embedded into our culture to be welcoming to everything and everyone. So the way that we do it is to make sure that our workforce and our partners are diverse. It's something that is important to us. So we always try to include people with different skills that come from different cultures, ethnicities, even body sizes. We really try to have a conversation with people that are different than us, because then we can see their perspectives. Like, I think that is so important. And we also, in a more legal matter, like law-wise, we have a code of conduct, and it's part of our code of conduct as well. So even with the suppliers that we use in the cooperative, we ensure that it's all embedded on them, and we ask questions to audit them to ensure that it's a safe place for everyone, and when they're hiring people, they're not doing based on, it has to fit a certain mold. That's how we do it in, practically. Yeah, that's it.
Consistent auditing. And you, Hoaxing?
Well, this okay, I'm just gonna say some like tricky things again. So as I can see, as I mentioned before, like I just do the meditation to feel how people feel. So basically sometimes I'm just according to my mind, according to my meditation, something like that. So I don't know how to like precisely, clearly to explain the thing, but one thing I'm certain sure of is like I respect all the culture. Yeah,
very Taoist inspired way.
yeah.
And okay, let's move on to the next one. We have a little time for the Q&A after. And so what do you think what can the fashion industry do to promote greater diversity, inclusivity, and cultural understanding? What do you think the fashion industry could change to do better in that aspects?
It's like, first of all, just like
stop being hypocritical.
Yeah.
Stop being hypocritical. Stop the cancel culture. you know, like I see a lot of brands
Mhm.
that actually a major brand went through like a massive, like was canceled because of, you know, something really bad. And but that brand was like seeking for everyone's forgiveness, was the first one to, when anything happened, to cancel other people really fast and be, I feel that brands are very hypocritical because the diversity is not embedded into the company structure from top to, not, you know, it's not only about what we see as a mod, like the models, you know what I mean? And I think that's what they try to sell it to us. They're like, oh yeah, look at us being diverse. We have a bunch of models, you know, that are different than what you usually see as like the white toe blonde girl. But the reality is, when you see like the boardrooms, you know, when you see the people that are making the decisions, they're all the same, and they don't actually want to make a change, just do it for people to shut up. Like, it's the same with sustainability. Like, I go to sustainability meetings, like you know, meetups, and I went to a convention on sustainability and they were talking about ESG, but all they talk about is carbon emission targets and materials. But what about the people? Why are you not including like social issues and truly changing, like finding like the root of the problems in with the communities, you know? And just and now you're telling me that you're going to stop like outsourcing Bangladesh because of this and that, but you're not actually helping them with the problem. You know, it's not about just canceling everyone. It's actually understanding what the problem is and go from there, you know, but no one wants to do the hard work. And that's how I feel, you know. I feel that's with cultural inclusion, that's with to make sure that the world is more equitable place, you know, like that the community is able to thrive, not only survive the way that they do, you know. But people only focus on the easy things, like which technology is scalable to make sure that we're going to reach net zero. It's great that you're reaching net zero, but what you're doing about the kids that growing up with no education and have, you know, have nothing in their countries, you know, and you guys used to use them all the time because it was a cheap workforce. You know, what are you doing about that? How you're supporting them? So I think that's the way forward, is to actually work on things and not being hypocritical.
Just sad that a lot of companies are using all this sustainability or supply chains management to just kind of a marketing tools to showing their ESG or doing sustainable development. It just it's just harsh when you think about it.
Yeah, it's like I was talking to sustainability officer from a really big fashion athleisure company, and I was talking to them. So what you guys do? What are your KPIs? What you guys do in terms of social inclusion and diversity? And they were like, oh, like our campaigns now, you don't hardly see a white person anymore. And I was like, it's not that, you know.
So
Because then you look around the room and there is no diversity, from the creative director, the photographer, you know.
Some companies have this DEI department, you know, someone responsible for, you know, inclusivity, but I guess like you can only have like only big companies can afford to do that.
Yeah.
But I need to look into it. Just like all this, like, you know, you see all these like DEI reports from McKinsey and you're wondering like, you know, how authentic they are.
Yeah.
It's like, at least there's some progress going on. That's good.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. At least we're talking about it.
Right. And what about you, Jan? Oh, you're on mute. Can't hear.
Sorry.
Hey, you're back.
Well, first of all, because Chinese, like, you know, China is like kind of like, you know, not that welcoming for like some tricky parts of the art and history and stuff, we cannot like freely speak out of our mind. We cannot like freely like showing like some words, especially like there are some like strictly like a list of the words that we cannot use and express and type in the internet. So I think it's already like kind of like boundary for the art and stuff. So I think most of the important thing for fashion now is like political for me. Yeah.
It's political playground.
Mhm.
Right. Sorry. So after this, we have some Q&A sessions, and we only have like roughly 15 minutes left.
Mhm.
Let's see if anyone want to ask. So dear participants, you can feel free to leave questions or just raise your hands. We'll let you, join the conversation right now. Just leave the.
Look at the sun in the UK. You guys can
Oh,
see
wow.
me.
I'm ready to go back now, actually. I was like hesitant because, Bangkok is very sunny, and I was like, I'm kind of ready. That's good.
Yeah, but that's what the UK is. Sunny today, but tomorrow is going to be like a horrible rain. It's the very unpredictable weather.
Cool. I'm gonna, since someone's asked questions, I actually have questions for Yan. I'm just wondering, like, because it's just, I've heard so much news like this, like, probably like sensitive issue, like, with all this COVID going on, like some people, we've heard that, like, sometimes people are looking, having this like negative views towards Asians, like, that's whatever, like, I don't know, like, probably ask, like, how have you encountered, like, is it like in fashion industry as well, like, how is it like?
Well,
It's perfectly
first
fine.
of all, like in the previous period of time, I know I can admit that China do a lot of like great things for controlling the pandemic thing. Yeah, and also, but in later on, like last year in Shanghai, there is a 3 months period of locking the city for Shanghai. So basically, people are just like avoid to talking the things in the internet, and we don't allow to talking this kind of thing in the internet, although we want to like express our mind, express our like comments and critical thinking, stuff like that, but we are not allowed until now. And also, if you want to do like some pandemic thing, you can only like use a very not a obvious way of showing what you think about this issue. So basically, I think it's kind of like still sensitive to talk about these things in domestic in my hometown, but because I'm not in China right now, so I can talk it like freely and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's good. So it's good to discuss that freely, right? The freedom is there.
Yeah, but still, I have to go back to Shanghai this year, so yeah, I'll just back to there and see how it goes right now.
Are you going back for the design, or like for the traveling?
Oh yeah, because I'm releasing a new album in autumn time, in fall time. And I'm doing some like new collection for next year for preparing my showroom and fashion shows. So I'm just gonna return.
Really cool.
She does it all.
No,
sorry.
she does it all.
You do it all.
Music, feminist, she does it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, no. I'm energetic.
Wow. Anyway, we have
see-
one question
yeah.
from Kushi. Oh, Kitty, are you in?
Yeah, I want to remind, I see this question as well.
Yeah, there is a question. So Kushi asking, how can fashion companies and individuals stay informed and educated about different cultures and their unique perspectives and practices?
I think, to be honest, I think it's really hard to know every single culture everywhere all the time. But for me, the best way to do it is to get to know people, like especially because you guys are working in London or in New York, like we get access to so many cultures, and so many different people. But I think consuming content, like watching Netflix series, they're not only from America and the UK, from other countries, and just researching upcoming designers or artists, that are from different cultures. Because usually if we don't consume our own, we are only consuming like American and UK in terms of music, TV, any type of entertainment, and even fashion. Like it's always like Europe, America, Australia as well, but we kind of lose a little bit of the other countries. So I think being curious, it's hard. Like I think it's really hard to know everything, but if you're curious and open-minded, you can always find amazing artists from other countries, and really, like if you see, like in Brazil, we have incredible fashion designers, incredible, and they work with natural materials and they do the most amazing craftsmanship, but not many people know them. So yeah, being curious, that's my advice. At least that's how I do it.
I agree with you, and really, to be honest, I want to be a lovable person as Maria does right now, but I'm an aggressive person. So in my opinion, I'm gonna say that keep appropriate ignorance. Like you have to ignore something, then you can learn something. But I know I can embrace all of the kind of the culture and stay unique always. But if you can ignore something, sometimes you can be more unique. That's my opinion.
I love how this, like, dynamic of these two speakers. And I don't know. That's interesting. But I will say, like, I love like watching different, like, Spanish soap operas, or just because I love soap operas. But anyway, like I just love like watching different things as well, but I just need to read those subtitles, which is like,
but I don't want to be like I want to be the same person as Maria does, but I'm always a fighter, I'm a feminist fighter,
you're a feminist, but but you managed to do it, like even though you're like, you have you have your own way of like breaking it.
I'm always aggressive. Sorry.
Aggressive in a good way, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Right. Let's see if there's anyone else asking questions. Oh. We have one more. Apart from the incident Hoaxing had with the braids, have you ever faced any other challenge because of your gender or cultural identity? How did you overcome it?
Okay, so this is another great question I want to discuss with. So although I'm a feminist, but I love boys, so it's kind of like difficult for me to overwhelming my own issue with the kind of like different things, and I'm doing like this for a very hard time for like gender things. So basically I can give you an example about my friends. So my friends, she is a transgender, but he don't want to like say that he's a boy or she's a girl or something like that. But when he or she went into the club in Shanghai, because there are some tricky rules about like, oh, today girls for free into the club and boys have to pay some like tickets into the club so they can attract more boys into the club because of the girls are free, and because my friend is a transgender, which means he or she cannot be a boy or a girl into this club. So he or she are just like part away from the door, and the security said, oh, you cannot like go into the club because you are not a girl or a boy. So basically into that thing, because I'm an aggressive person, so I'm just gonna standing in front of the door in the gate and talking loudly about the thing, and just talk to the security and say, you have to go out, call your manager out. I'm gonna like have some strict discussion with that guy. Okay, so every time I'll just do that, and every time I think I know this kind of like, it's not a calm and great way of solving the problem. I know this is not a best way, but sometimes society and world needs some people like me to aggressively solve some problems, like in some extremely aggressive ways, so that more people can benefit from other things because of some people like me. Yeah.
Just stand up for what you believed in.
Yeah, I'm a fighter.
Fight for the human rights. But you're aggressive for a cause, so that's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's so many transgenders in Thailand, and I can imagine like if they ever face that, like, you know, getting to club, because it's so widely accepted here. I mean, legally they can't get, like, it's not legally accepted here because the law in Thailand is pretty old-fashioned, but culturally we're very open. So, you know, you can see them working in like different places, or, you know, just walk around like your friends, or, you know, it's just very different. But, you know, it's funny how like the law doesn't allow them to like same-sex marriage, or they can't change their first, you know, their initials, and it's just like, yeah,
they're so hard. They have to cost a lot to like transfer their genders. I think they're so great to do that kind of like thing. I cannot do that, so what I can do is just support them.
Yeah, what we can do now is just basically like, you know, promote them. We have a lot of like parades here in Thailand, just like fighting for
I know. Yeah,
gender names and like identification. It's hard, but it's growing fast here. It's at least in Thailand for sure, because it's such a, you know, a strong community in Thailand. Yeah. Oh, let's see if there's other questions from the guests. Oh, same goes to you, Maria.
In terms of gender, yes, but in Brazil, because we work like with like seatbelts come from the automotive industry, and we collect a lot of them in the community, but I also go to car mechanics. In the presentation, I didn't say that, but I give English lessons to the kids of the mechanics, trading it for the seatbelts that we use. We pay them as well, but it's just another thing that we do to build a relationship. But in the beginning, they didn't like me because I was a woman, you know, and they always, I don't know, they patronized me a lot, and they never understood, okay, little girl, so you're gonna use seatbelts to make bags? Like, how are you gonna clean them? Can you carry them? You know, like, they were always very patronizing with me because of it. But the way I navigated, like, I am a loving kind of person, but the way I navigated was, you know, to really be really nice, really polite, and to start building that relationship and seeing what they needed. Like, money, it wasn't just money wasn't going to cut it if I really needed that help to build the supply chain. So I knew that teaching their kids English, especially because car mechanics in Brazil, they are very low income and they live in the slums, you know, they don't have that much money. And English in Brazil is such a big thing if you want to have good opportunities in life. So when I traded the seatbelts for English lessons, I really built that trust and gained that respect. So for me, I always like to prove people wrong and to see that they didn't think of me as someone strong, but actually I'm the one that helping their kid. Like one of the kids got a scholarship to do university in America, and I was the one that helped him like through all like the assessments, study for the oral and you know, the written tests and everything. And in terms of cultural identity, I have been faced with prejudice in the fashion industry here in the UK. Some people think that I work for my business partner. I get that a lot, you know, which is, you know, like, yeah, like they look just at my business partner. They don't look at me because they don't think I can speak English, or they speak really slowly, you know. And yeah, it's something that happens with some people. They're more narrow-minded or never experienced someone from another culture. It's hard, but I don't take it too hard, because I think that that's what happens when you have some sort of prejudice. You generalize a situation because of one bad experience, or, you know, something that you read about a culture. And what I do is try to prove them wrong. So prove that I'm intelligent, that I can fully speak English and probably better than they can. And yeah, to prove my worth, you know, or to show them my worth, not to prove because I know, but to show that I am an equal, you know.
Well, that's inspiring to hear, like, especially like us, international students, and a lot of us like want to work abroad, establishes our brands abroad. And of course, like it came into our mind, like, you know, we're just very like, how do we navigate this? And just, I guess we have to prove it wrong and prove our worth. Like, I mean, we know our worth, but we just have to let them see it.
And it happened to me like with this major PR agency. They wanted to do our PR. They do the PR for like huge brands. And the woman was talking to me as if I was dumb because I was Brazilian. And I was like, okay, so, you know, I really need to put my A game. But it does happen a lot when you come from a third world country. I think if I was Swedish, it wouldn't happen. But as a Latin, you know, it happens. And that's what you have to do, you know, show them your worth, show them that you are an equal in business, you know, that they can't mess you around.
Very good tips from you, Maria.
Well, I'm glad I can help, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I'm from Thailand. I get doubts all the time, like what I'm doing abroad. Like they even like check my passport like many times if I travel alone. It's like, you know, like wondering like if I'm gonna like illegally immigrate or never come back, because we're like a lot of Thais do like, you know, immigrate like abroad, like with a travel visa or something. So I like sometimes it's like I feel a bit offended, and they're like, why are you like looking with your like glasses just to see, like to verify my passport? That seriously, like, I mean, like, come on, you know. But you know, it is what it is. We just have to prove them wrong.
Yeah That's it. That's all we can do, you know, and break down the stereotypes. Like they think of Brazilian women, they think of women that are prostitutes or gold diggers, or, you know, I get that a lot. Like, especially when I was younger, I used to get really upset. But it's the reality. And, you know, like you have to break down the stereotypes. One of the things that I did that was important to me and honestly, I think that if you want to be in business in the UK, it's something, that for me was good, was I started to really see the way that I was dressing myself to make sure that I would give an image of a powerful person. So the way that I do my hair, like the clothes that I wear, everything that I can give, start with a first impression that is really powerful. It really sets the tone as well. I thought that that was really important, especially when you're dealing with people in the fashion industry that are so high up, you know, like when we went to the palace for dinner, I knew that I had to step up, you know, and yeah, it's just like also body language. You want to be authentic, but you also want to perceive yourself as someone that is a business person, you know, especially when you come from a third world country.
True. Sad reality, but we're fighting for it.
Yeah.
Well, we actually running out of time. Just we just need to wrap this up pretty soon. But thank you so much, everyone, to participate in this, you know, lovely discussions, and definitely like very grateful for our speakers. So much insightful information, very useful from both of you. And we'll take this lesson and just, you know, reflect and kind of grow from this and experience of discussing with you guys. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. I'm very grateful that you guys, and honored to be amongst such amazing people, and you know that you guys thought of me for this webinar, and anything that I can do to help each and every single one of you with the little knowledge that I have in the field.
Wow.
Just drop me a message on, it's true, just drop me a message on LinkedIn and I will do everything that I can to support you guys.
Thank you so much. Yes, all the participants, like, please feel free to connect with our dear speakers here, you know, get connected. I definitely have you on LinkedIn already. I will just follow you on Instagram as well. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. It's still, well, the daytime in the UK and America, but